boys and girls. It's there's a darker side of night. Yes, there is. That would be Mike Clavana, and well, that looks familiar. There's a picture of us, Dr. John. There's actually a picture in this round of him with Bob Mayo, which is kind of cool. Where are you, Bob? Let's see if we can make that happen.
For those of you that don't know, Bob Mayo was the guitarist in Rat Race Choir.
There you go. Check
before
that
Mark
out.
hit.
Look at that.
Hello,
That's
children of the line.
Children of the man. What a weird night last night. Man.
What happened? Like at 4 something?
Well,
3:30.
what happened is I go back and forth between my phone and between whatever else, and things just weren't happening the way they were supposed to be happening. I can't explain, but I don't try. Usually it's my fault, and I'm.
This time it was not.
Yeah, I'm whatever. I'm confident enough to admit that.
That's right.
I love these people that go, this damn phone just did. I don't know what it just did. Of course you don't, because you didn't read the manual.
I don't know what this damn Restream is doing.
And I wish I had time to come over there and help you with it.
I'm not watching it tonight. So there's that.
You're not watching Restream?
Nope.
Don't. I got it over here.
Not. Maybe if we take a break.
But like I was saying to you, it was not. I went on for a second while I was in the dressing room and typed. So I went on to the LinkedIn channel and typed something from the LinkedIn channel. And I don't think anybody saw it. So you don't see everything on here, no matter what they tell you. It's propaganda.
Well,
okay.
anyway, as it turns out, we called Brad and we said, listen, Brad, we're not going to be able to do the show tonight because Brad was going to come on and do his rock and roll show and tell thing. And
which we were postponing until next week, and it's going to be a good one, too.
And he said...
Oh, yeah,
I don't have internet either.
Did I interrupt you?
He said, I don't have internet either. And we're like, that's weird, because we've never been to Brad's house, so we don't know how far away he lives. He says, I just looked it up on my phone, and there's an outage.
Like from Tampa to Miami.
Which is basically...
Which is the whole peninsula.
The whole west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
So we got on Apple TV, and we started looking up Comcast outages, and we were seeing that they were having them in Chicago and San Francisco.
Crazy, but that was months ago.
That was from 5 months ago.
So we don't really know. But you said an interesting thing, and you never got to finish the story, and I was wondering, you said every time you hear Darker Side of Night, it reminds you of...
John.
But why? Were we listening to it in the car?
Yes. Yes.
At that moment? So that was...
Yes. So it was before the CD came out, I even think. I think we were like listening to it, the songs that y'all were going to put on the CD. And we were driving back to whatever the name of that hotel is that we stayed in Montauk.
I don't remember.
The one that had the bar downstairs.
The
one
Montauk
where I hurt
Hotel?
myself? No.
I don't remember what it was. The one where you went down the stairs,
yes, Yes. And John was in the back seat with Susie.
Susie was in the Hamptons?
Yep. She was in Montauk. We met Susie at Shigwang.
Was that when we met her then? That time?
It was around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And so then
like
how'd she wind up in
dark.
the car with us? Well,
what do you think?
But we were listening, so you're, okay.
And it was really dark, and there were lots of stars, because we were like out and heading towards Montauk, on Montauk Highway, past Amagansett. I think we went to Stephen Talkhouse or something.
Where were we driving?
A Cadillac, that green Cadillac.
The tour one?
Yep. That's
Interesting.
right.
Okay, well, so there you go. Darker Side of Night. And that was one of the things, I've been working on Oxzoomed for a long time now, and Oh, did you? I mean, I know what tracks I'm going to use from here and there, but the live stuff is really playing tricks on me because all of a sudden I found stuff from '96 that's really, really good. So I'm going to use a couple of songs from the '96 tour, and then I found some amazing stuff from '98 and '99. Now the difference between the first tour, '96, was Alan St. John was playing keyboards and singing, and he was singing John's stuff from the Rock. But in '90, we didn't tour in '97, and Alan got a gig, and so we called Gordon, and Gordon did the sequel, Left 4 Dead, the sequel, and 99. So 98, 99 tours were with Gordon. And so I found some real cool stuff there because the whole character of the band kind of changed. When Alan was in the band, Alan had an amazing voice, a lead singer type of voice. And the Rock had a lead singer. Henry was the front man. And similar voices, so we were able to do a very interesting set of music, and then '98, '99 was we were able to play a lot of the Vampires stuff that we wrote, and we recorded the live album. So I don't know, I get confused with with what freaking time it is, with what day it is, with what tour it is. Anyway, there's a guide, and so now I can match, my dates up to the touring guide and figure out what year it's from. So the other day, yesterday, actually, I think it was, I found Live at the Stone Pony.
Ooh.
And that's 2001. So that's one of the it certainly was the last tour that we did, but probably one of the, I'd have to look at the dates of the, of the tour. But man, we did stuff on that. I didn't realize, I forgot all about doing it because I don't keep a log of the set list that we play, although they're out there as well. So it's always a surprise to see what we did on the record, on the show rather. And one of the fun things that I'll do, because there's so much talking, John says some really funny shit, and everybody does.
Our guest is going to be here in 1 minute.
My guest is here. Okay,
okay.
Excuse me,
Just
lady.
keeping you, on
my
time
guest
here.
is here.
Waffle House.
Hey, listen, thanks there, Waffle House.
You're Waffle House.
Okay, I'm Waffle House. Oh, I see how it is. All right, well, let me get rid of this. We'll invite Mike in the room then, okay?
Sure, waffle on.
Are you kidding me? This is how we're starting the week off? It was so weird yesterday. Without doing the show, and we knew we weren't going to do it past a certain point, when we got the message from Comcast that your service will be restored at 4 a.m. I was like, well, good. So, no problem, but it was like, it threw my whole night off. Like, we ate dinner too early, or we started watching. It was really weird. It felt like a broken Saturday. I don't know. Anyway, guys, here comes Mike.
Okay.
Come in. Let me turn this mic up.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, man, how are you?
Good seeing you. I'm doing great.
Good to see you. Welcome to my nightmare. What are those things?
What things?
Those things behind them. They look
I
like
got some horseshoes behind me. Yeah.
Those are real like throwing horseshoes, or?
No, they were from a hunt club in North Salem, and actually, my father-in-law owned a club called the Village Barn in Mayapack back in the late '60s.
Yeah.
The inside was decorated with like lots of barn kind of stuff, and that was one of the things that was in there. So I took it off his hands.
Yeah. Well, they're cool looking. Caught my attention.
Yeah.
That looks like an airplane propeller too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, I got a little propeller over here.
Yeah.
Just memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Laurie. How you doing? I
Good,
don't
how
see you,
are
but I hear you.
Mike? Good to see you.
And I say, and what is the looks like a Polaroid camera back there?
Little camera collection, couple
Oh
cameras.
wow! Those
Yeah, oh, yeah.
excellent! Oh, bravo! That's
Oh,
cool.
you have a very interesting background.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, I could have had just a wall behind me or something. You have a spaceship, so hey, you got me beat.
Well, yeah, but this is part of the persona. Really. And I'll tell you what, I went through. It's funny when I decided to do the show. A couple of years ago now. I had no idea what I was really going to do. I mean, I didn't want to be Johnny Carson or that and have a talk show and do interviews. I'd rather just bullshit with my friends and let people listen to that because it's better anyway.
Right.
So, and that way I get to ask as many questions or answer. It becomes a conversation instead of and I toyed with different. I was doing it live from my control room in the recording studio, so I had the recording studio and all this stuff, and it felt too, I don't know, it felt crazy. Then I tried it with a couple of different things, and I wound up out here, and it felt comfortable and it felt right, and as long as I have my sticks, I'm in good shape. And
right. Nearby, and you know what? It's a lot more casual there rather than saying, "Oh, he's in a recording studio," and yeah.
Well, because most of my friends know I'm in space anyway, so it's it just fits right. It's right in with the program.
That's right.
Yeah.
So speaking of space, Angus sent me the pictures, and I was blown away because when I realized that you played in Foreigner, I was wondering if it was the Foreigner with Bob, and it looked like it was Bob Mayo.
Actually, that was Hall and Oates.
Oh, that's what I meant. I meant Hall and Oates. Duh. Anyway, see, that's what happens.
I was going to say, I know you play with Foreigner.
What? Yeah, no. But yeah, so that's when that was from, Hall and Oates.
Yeah, late 80s, 88 through 90-ish.
Yeah, I remember, man. Man, how did that happen? How did all that? You know,
I started working for Hall and Oates in '79 as a tech, and we were doing club dates. We were playing all over the country, bottom line kind of places.
Sure.
2 shows a night. It was when they had been an arena band, and they sort of bombed out on that, and they said, let's build it up from the beginning again. And they started off doing clubs. I worked my way through the whole thing as far as program drums for them, program synthesizers, had a little off-stage rig, and teched at the same time. Tuned pianos. If you know how to CP70, I tuned this piano. But it sort of got my chops with being very technical with keyboards and drum machines and stuff. And finally, I was playing on all the songs. And they're like, well, you're over there on the side of the stage. Why don't you come up and play with the band? So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
That's pretty cool.
That's when Bobby was in the band. Bobby joined the band, and I did more sweetening stuff. Bobby is a chops player, and he's great. And I would sort of just, Hall and Oates had lots of keyboard parts on the song, so I just filled in whatever they needed to have happen. It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, he was definitely, and the thing, when I played with Bob in '73, he was playing guitar.
I saw you guys at the Fore and Aft in Brewster.
Crazy.
The time I saw you, Bob was playing playing guitar for you.
I mean, and the stuff that we used to do, we were doing Stevie Wonder stuff, and we were just a whole Allman Brothers. It was just such a different. That was '73. That would have been '73. Incredible, wow. Incredible.
I saw him once with you guys, and then the next time Mark was playing with you. So he left to join Frampton.
Well, the thing is, what happened was we had a guitar player in '72. We had actually, believe it or not, before Mayo, 2 guitar players before him.
Okay.
And for various reasons, whatever. And so when the second guitar player left, we were looking at guys. We were looking at Jimmy Crespo, if you remember Jimmy, played with Anaconda, I think was the name of his band coming up. and also played with Aerosmith when in the non-Perry years, and Bob Mayo, but Mayo we just liked his swing, and so he got that gig. But he was already playing. He already had made the connection with Frampton. I think it was Frampton's Camel at the time. It was before, the bomb went off. But we knew, that
Well,
he was
come
doing
on.
that.
If you saw him playing at the fore and aft,
Yeah.
Peter Frampton
Yeah.
and arenas, really not much of a choice there.
No. But in fairness to Bob, I mean, that's the way it just was. It was kind of understood. If somebody got to take the step, they took the step. That's just showbiz.
I remember seeing him at Sam Ash in White Plains, and I went up to him and was like, "Hey, I heard you playing with Frampton," and he looked at me like, "No, who told you that?" And he was playing with Frampton, because the next time I went to see you guys, it was Mark in the band.
Oh, right.
And Bob broke my heart. I was like, he lied to me.
Well, maybe he had to keep it under
Yeah,
wraps.
who knows?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I remember, he met his wife. He met Carolyn at a Rat Race show.
Okay.
And I actually have a picture of them at the Fore and Aft South, sitting on the edge of the stage. It's like, man, time capsule shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy.
I still
So,
see Caroline sometimes.
yeah, is she okay?
Yeah, she seems to be doing good. She is friends with Mark Rivera's wife, and they,
Oh,
them at
okay.
social occasions.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, well, that
Hey.
makes sense.
Yeah, they did the whole Foreigner, Hall & Oates. They've been done lots of stuff together.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Carolyn's she's a good girl. It made my heart, kind of swell up when I saw that old picture of them. I guess it had to be 73. So,
Yeah.
And it's just, listen, we don't want to go to the dark side because
Okay, Mike, we got a couple of your fans saying hello to you. Diane Vasquez and Laurie Allred.
Oh, those are two old Hall & Oates fans. Yeah.
Okay, well, they're saying hello to you.
Well, hello.
Hello, ladies.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's cool. That's the fun thing about this. Okay, I mean, why I did it, why I decided to do this format, which is, this is like Seinfeld if he had a talk show.
Right.
There's no freaking format. And you've done this a million times because you've traveled the world. I mean, you know what's out there. And, when you see an old friend, somebody that you used to play with or whatever, and they're checking out of the hotel and you're checking in and it's, hey!
Yeah. And it does happen more than you think.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love the most about touring was that thing because, just wait 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes, and it's great to run into people out there. So that was the kind of idea behind the show was being able to bump into my old friends. This is as close as I'm going to get to doing that.
Now, talking of an old friend, I sent you a picture of me sitting on a corner in France playing an accordion.
Yes.
The guy next to me is Donnie Floyd, who I believe was your drum tech on the Abbey Road tour.
Yes, on Abbey Road. Donnie Floyd, an excellent tech. He was amazing. If that's who that is?
Yeah, and I thought maybe you might. It's sort of half his face in there, so you can't really see him.
Well,
but
I was
toured together with Josh Groban.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, he was great. He was just. I tell you what. There's a level of guys that they're the guys that get the call. He was at my kit every night. If we made the slightest change, that change was made the next day. He made that tour. That was a giant set that I played on that tour. So I had all the triangles and the percussion for all the Beatles stuff. And every night, man, he was just impeccable. So please, if you see him, before I do, I remember him well.
Little blast from the past, right?
Yeah, he was great. Well, I spent a year with him, here. So it's, it was
That was
a
a great band, right? Yeah, Todd on guitar and.
Yep. and
Um,
and Alan Parsons and Ann Wilson and Entwistle and Godfrey and John Beck on keyboards. It was and David Pack from Ambrosia.
wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Excellent.
Okay, so
It,
you
wa- it
know Russ Scavelli, yes?
All right. So that's a good one.
Here we
Russ,
go.
I worked at Mayapack Music, the old Mayapack Music that was on the lake. When
6N.
Ronnie,
Oh, wow.
when Ronnie DePiro owned it, like 74, 75, before they went over on Route 6.
Wasn't it on 6N?
It was 6N around the lake. Yep.
Okay, well, he says,
Yeah.
Mike, my clarinet has a leaking B flat pad.
Well,
Or-
when I went away to college, I went for horn repair, and I would fix people's instruments that worked at the music store. And I think Russ gave you his clarinet. He's absolutely right.
Ah,
Wow, man. I mean, that's
he lives down in Fort
yeah.
Myers
He's like
where we live
20
now.
minutes from us.
He
That's-
came and visited me last summer, but I'll tell you, when I started working at the music store, he would talk about Stromberg guitars and Bromberg, David Brown, old people I didn't know anything about at the time, and just Django Reinhardt and stuff. And he really turned me on to a whole new level of music. Because everybody was coming into the music store for music lessons, and they all wanted to play Zeppelin and Deep Purple and this and that. And he was on a whole different plane at that point. He had done all that stuff, and he was really, expanding his musical talents. And he was a good person to have at such a young age.
That's great. Yeah, that's it obviously didn't hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and I'm I had Russ on the show a few days back and Laura,
Yeah.
and I mean that was such a weird full circle moment because do you know TJ from Key West?
McGann.
I don't.
Okay, so I mean, it's like that makes it even weirder.
We didn't know
you were
him
supposed
either.
to say, "Oh yeah, sure." That way,
Do you
I feel like the.
he might know Carrie Ash,
Do you know Carrie?
Sammy
Ash?
Ash's ex-wife.
No.
Oh, she used to work in the Sam Ash and White Plains with Sammy.
We're getting it's
Oh,
now
okay.
we're
Well,
lost.
she told us, "Oh, you have to have my friend TJ on. He lives in the Keys."
He was a big fan of Rat Race and da 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 da, and so I said, "Wow, okay." And we had him on, and it turns out he's like this fantastic luthier, does this amazing stuff. And then he says, "Oh, you got to have my friend this friend
Russ
on."
Scavelli on.
And then he says, "You have to have my friend Russ Scavelli on." And I'm thinking,
Right.
Russ Scavelli,
What?
because they were living in the Keys.
And I'm thinking, can't be the same guy.
Yeah,
Now, I would go down to Key West, and Russ would play in clubs down there, and I'd stick my head in, say hi to him and Laura. And I was working with Buffett. He had a recording studio down on the on the pier there.
Yeah.
Every time I would go down, we did about 3 or 4 records down there. Every time I'd go down, I'd look him up and been to his house and just hung out. I used to love to go watch him play.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
understood they were really good.
Yeah, and I've never been to that studio. How is that place? I mean,
He has a nice old Neve board in there.
my favorite.
Yeah, small setup, but it does the trick.
You know what? It comes out of the same 2 speakers, no matter how it gets there.
That's right.
Right? So it's as long as it doesn't really matter. But Neve, man, that's some of the first gear that I recorded with back in in the beginning, and you could it was really an amazing difference to learn about all that. I wasn't so much a tech guy, but I liked it, and I always had recording gear, so I always kind of had to know about things, and when programming and all the
He likes learning.
yeah, I love learning stuff, and especially if it's music related or it's about tomorrow. You know what I mean? I love being on the cutting edge of stuff. I love gear and
Oh, okay.
have a good
Diane
time.
Vasquez says tenured, not old. When you said old friends.
Okay, she is tenured.
Okay, you are
No.
tenured, Diane.
I guess I'm the older one.
No,
Well, I think when he said old friends, he
No.
didn't mean old. He
we
meant
don't do old.
known you for a
Go back.
long time.
We don't do old here.
I think I've known Diane since '88 or so, somewhere around there.
Okay, so that's
On.
that's fermented friends, I suppose.
Are you playing at the Garden in let's see, May?
Coming up, yeah, middle of May somewhere.
Wow.
Who are you playing with?
Actually, Billy Joel.
Oh,
But I tech for Billy. I'm Billy's keyboard tech and I don't tech for Billy. I tech for his keyboard player, who's Mr. You want to get into technology? He's the guy.
Mike.
Rosenthal.
Is that Mike?
Mike Del
Oh no,
Judas?
David.
Oh,
Yeah.
David Rosenthal?
David Rosenthal.
Yes.
We have had everybody in Billy's band on the show except for David and Tommy Burns.
I was in a band with David Rosenthal for, I think, 6 days.
What was it?
Rainbow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played with Blackmore. He's done a lot of, hot shot guitar stuff with Yingwei Malmsteen and Steve Vai and
Yeah.
plays
Yeah.
with-
Yes.
Well, he's good.
So
He's really
he's a
good.
tech wizard, huh? He's one of those guys.
Oh yeah, he knows his gear inside out. He programs all his own sounds. He knows his Pro Tools. He knows his Performer. He's in with all the Apple guys. Every product support person, he knows them, and he knows his gear. That's for sure. And he's a
That's great.
Yeah.
Well,
very technical player.
you'll see him. Please tell him I said hello. I remember him well. He was a great guy and an incredible musician.
And Mark Rivera wears Steve Longo's
Yeah, you
designs.
know Mark wears my shirts on.
at
Of
Madison
course.
Square Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's craziness. I mean, it's
crazy.
just, and that's another reason that I wanted to do this show, because it's such a small world that we come from, and it's such it's an exclusive club, and you don't, it's just amazing if you're in it. You know what I mean? If you're a lifer, and it's unlike any other thing that I could even imagine doing. I don't, I can't imagine.
Oh, wait, we have another Laurie saying hi to you. Laurie Collado. She said there's a lot of Lauries on this stream just saying hi to Mike. We're just Facebook friends. And Steve, I'll look for you at the Garden in May to say hello in person. That's how I figured you were playing at the Garden.
There
So
you go.
Laurie Collado says hello.
Yeah, she's a Billy Joel fan, and I never met her before, but we are Facebook friends.
Well, I'll tell you what. One thing, I'll tell you, I don't know Billy except, obviously through,
His band.
as we all know each other from the island and so on. But, I've had Chuck on, and Mark is a friend going back like forever.
Mike
and,
Del Judas.
Yeah, Mike's been on, but I forget who I was. I think it was Chuck, and we were talking about, this hard couple of years, and I was so thrilled to find out what a solid, righteous, good dude Billy Joel
Yeah.
was. I mean, we don't have to go into all that, but it was
But he
really
did the
did
right
my heart
thing, yeah.
good to find out, how
Best
cool
boss
that
in the
was.
business, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
man, that's first class, and I'll tell you what, if that's much respect.
And that's rare, let
Yeah,
me tell you that.
that's incredible. So bravo.
So bravo to Billy Joel.
So anybody else that wants to tell stories, they know where I am. But but please say hello to everybody for me, because it was.
Sure will.
It's a great band too.
And if you see Mark Rivera wearing colorful shirts,
He wears them all the time. He really
well,
does.
they're Steve's.
Yeah, it's great design, and you're quite an artist. You have the eye for that kind of stuff.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so, believe me, I'm so honored when I see, because your fans are you have some great fans, and they always send me pictures of Mark wearing the shirt. It's just remarkable what it's amazing. I love the whole thing. So
He's
it's,
got some good style, so if he's wearing your stuff, you're in good hands.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's why I remember, like I said, I've known Mark a long time. My God, we did a some kind of a fundraiser thing, a 9/11
Yeah.
fundraiser thing, and I've known him since back in the day, right? And So I follow. Just I like to see. I like to see my friends doing well, and I'm seeing him wearing all these shirts, and the guy's like he's the shirt guy, and I thought, man, come on,
Yeah.
who else should be wearing this stuff but Mark Rivera? And
That's
sure
right.
enough, man, he. I hooked him up. He hooked me up. It's great.
Him,
I mean,
Eddie Money too. Eddie Money.
Yeah, Eddie Money too. Eddie Money too.
Yeah.
I sent when I was first decided to have a go at this thing. I had samples made, and you've seen the shirts. So it's just one. It's like you took a big piece of art and made a shirt out of it. It's not a pattern. It's not a repeat. It's just a big piece of art made into a shirt. So I sent this piece of art called Vines. It doesn't really matter. And the shirt comes back with all these little squares of the art all over it, right? I mean, it's just totally not what I do. Obviously a mistake. That's why you do samples. But Eddie, for some reason, Eddie Money called me up, and I thought, Eddie, you like cool shirts. Would you like me to send you a shirt? And he said, yeah, Stevie, send it over. Yeah, sure. So I send it to him, right? And he loves it. He flips out. I see him wearing it in videos. And next thing I know, he's wearing it on his television show.
Yeah, he had a.
And I had to produce the shirt that way because
He was wearing it. Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and man, there's another crazy loss, but
Yeah.
on to the next tour. That's all there is to it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so now one of our regular
Yep.
viewers, and we call our regular viewers the children of the lawn,
The children of the lawn.
Anton Jutner, says he took advanced lessons with Dave Rosenthal. He's a great guy, outstanding keyboard player, programmer. So how about that?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I remember him from do you know Bear Tracks, that studio?
Woodstock?
No, it's not Woodstock. It's
Near Woodstock?
Airmont Road. No, it's not. I forget what it's Piermont. I don't know. Anyway, that's where I recorded with Blackmore, and Dave was the keyboard player. It was just it was a great bunch of guys, and he was an amazing player. And Joe Lynn was it was everybody. It was a cool thing to be involved
Absolutely.
with for a few days.
Hey, did you get on the record? Any of the tracks or?
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I got to ask Chuck. Is that you or is that me?
No,
'Cause
well,
he left my name off the record.
right. So he had to.
I had to talk with Bruce Payne, and it was like, come on, man.
Right.
No matter what, I could use the gold record. So they just bumped up what they paid,
Yeah.
and that was it. But
Yeah.
what a weird experience.
And
man.
Leslie West's record, Alligator, he spells his name
Yeah.
wrong. He spells it Loungo, L-O-U, instead of
N-G-O.
L-U-O.
And I said to him, Leslie, my name's spelled wrong. He goes, change it.
Yeah, change it.
Change the way you spell your name. I told Corky Lang he should do the same thing. He never listened to me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So, man, so where was home? Where did it start out for you?
Well, born in Long Island. First few years I lived in Westbury, then Wilson Park. Then I grew up in Mayapack from about 10 years on
Wow.
till like 21 or so, or 20. Moved to New York City, started working with some bands, and then came up to Northern Connecticut. But started off working with Jerry Shirley, who was the Humble Pie drummer.
Oh, the drummer, sure. Jerry,
yeah.
yeah.
And he sort of took me under his wing. And the keyboard player for the band was Peter Wood, who wrote Year of the Cat for Al Stewart.
Oh.
And that band fell apart. But at any rate, Jerry took me to Italy with him with Andrew Oldham, this Rolling Stones producer.
Uh-huh.
And after that, things just took, that's when I started with Hall & Oates after that. But working with Andrew was a great thing. He's,
Yeah.
he communicated in a way I'd never heard people communicate music to other people, with colors and different, it wasn't like, play 6 bars of this. It was like, you got to play sexier here and,
Yeah, I want to feel blue. Yeah, I've had those kind of producers. They're great. When
Yeah.
the guys that turn the lights down, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those guys. I mean, and let me tell you what, I'd rather work with somebody like that that's asking me for colors and textures than somebody who's giving me, sheet music. It's like, am I here because you want me to play drums, or am I here because you want someone to play drums? You know what I mean? So it's always fun when you have one of those loosey-goosey kind of producers.
So when you were with Rat Race, what was the first Led Zeppelin song you sang lead on? Was it Rock and Roll or?
I think it was rock and roll. I think it was rock and roll. And I'll tell you what, I have been trying in my mind to remember how that even came about. You know what I mean? I don't remember saying, well, Dave, I can sing.
Right. I asked him, I said, your voice is so deep. How did you know you could sing Led Zeppelin?
And the only thing that I can say is, I think it was, when was Sherry a hit for the Four Seasons? 62?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah.
I was driving. My mother and I used to go to vacation in Rhode Island on Block Island. And we would drive up and take the ferry across or fly across or whatever was going to happen. But it was a long drive. And that summer, 62, 64, whatever it was, Sherry was the song, right? So I was 9 or whatever.
Right.
So I can hit all those notes.
Yeah, 62.
62, right. Okay, so I'm 9. And I'm hitting all the notes and saying, I'm saying, Mom, listen, I can play this. It's not saying what an incredible singer this guy is. I can sing all these notes. And my mother said, yeah, you're not always going to be able to do that. It's like, oh, really? Oh, really? And every time that song would come on, I would make those notes. And I don't know, somehow I think that turned into Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, because I think I saw you guys when you first started doing that song, and afterwards you did Kashmir.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I think you did Kashmir live before Zeppelin did Kashmir live.
Yeah, I think
I think we did too. And the funny thing about that is, and I'll send it to you, because when I first started doing the show, I was digitizing old Rat Race tapes. And do you remember how we used to end Kashmir by any chance?
Studio fade.
Yeah, we used to fade out.
Studio fade, yeah. I remember. And it was very dynamic. It's really tough to do.
I remember Robin Rubenstein said that she went to
funny.
The Rising Sun, she said, before she knew you guys, and she said, and y'all sang Kashmir, and that was before Led Zeppelin played it out.
Because,
and the reason did it for her right there.
The reason for that was because our manager at the time, his girlfriend was working for Ron Delsner. Okay. So we got to see everything or hear everything or find it before it ever came out. We were doing the UK record before because we saw them play it live at the Bottom Line or whatever it was, and it was like, okay, well, let's do that.
That's a tough one to pick up real quick.
Yeah, but we did, and I loved playing that stuff. I mean, that was just because once you know where it's going, once you know the roadmap. If you're me and you're an overplayer. There's just so many cool things that you can do inside that time, and just crossing the bar line with fills and triplet. It's like a dream. It's for me playing those kind of songs with a lot of energy, and you're playing, but you're getting to be creative and spontaneous. It's fun.
Okay, now Russ Scavelli says Paul used to say "silly boys singing like silly girls." Who's Paul?
Paul from Paul Cotton. Yeah.
I don't know.
Paul Cotton. Why do I know
he
that?
He spells it in all capital letters. Paul used to say silly boys singing like silly girls about Led Zeppelin, I guess.
Oh, well, yeah, there you go.
But I don't know. Paul McCartney? I don't know.
Yeah, it could be McCartney.
Tell us who you're talking about, Russ. Paul who?
That's right. And the funniest thing is, by the time we see, you and I are talking in real time, but by the time we see somebody responding to something we said, it's usually 20 or 30 seconds later.
So you're already on to something else.
And it'll be like, yeah, I saw that too. And it's like,
it's like, what?
What?
Yeah, I think Russ played with Paul Cotton from Poco. I think was the band.
Ah.
And
Yes.
They were both living in Key West, and Russ did some recording with them. So it's either
That's
be
what
that
it
Paul
says.
or Paul McCartney. That's the only.
Well, he says Paul
Yeah.
Paul Cotton
Had to
from
be
Poco.
Paul
I did
Cotton.
10 years with him.
There you
Did
go.
10 years with him, like prison.
Yeah, I did 10 years with him. Yeah. So,
Hard time.
yeah,
Probably good time.
great time.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what. It's funny because I hear guys bitching about and you know what, man? Go talk to somebody that's got to be out there on the street in Florida tarring a road on a 92-degree day.
Yeah.
You know what? Then shut up and play your frickin' guitar because it's like a gift.
That's right.
You know.
You know, I had a friend who worked in the music business for years, and he started working at an amphitheater in the kitchen. He said, "You think the music business is tough? Try flipping hamburgers all day." And I was like, "Wow, if that doesn't humble you, nothing will."
That's right.
Well, yeah, I gotta imagine that's a whole. If we're talking about being a chef, you know what I mean. It's not like my goal was ever to, to work at McDonald's. I wanted to work at the Garden. You know
Your
what I
goal
mean?
was never even to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
No. I know all about eating food. I know a lot about that.
No. He
What?
went to John's house in England, in Twistle, and he had his own cottage he stayed in, and he would make his own breakfast, English breakfast.
I used to have an English breakfast every day. Bobby Pridden from the Who's sound man, the guy who.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bobby was.
had a cottage too.
When we were making the last record that we did, I didn't want to stay in the big house for a number of reasons, none the least of which Bobby and I were on a different schedule from John and Lisa was getting a little. It was hard to stay on our schedule if you were there.
It was hard to keep that kitten in a box.
Yeah, that kitten just would not stay in the box.
Yeah.
And Bobby and I were up every day. Bobby would, hello, Moose, and he'd come on in, and we'd have our, rash of bacon and some
But you
beans
would
and
make
the whole
it.
thing. I would make it every
Yeah.
day. The sausages and the whole thing, bangers. And,
Tomatoes and
no,
I
you know,
heard all about it.
but from Tesco, man, I mean, the real stuff. It's not like you're doing it here, you're doing it there, and it's like, oh, God, great way. And that's really about the only thing.
with the beans, the
Yeah.
baked beans.
Oh,
And when
man.
I heard that, I was like, ugh. But I had it over there, and it was like delicious.
You had it in the airport over there. Mine.
I had it in
was-
the airport, and then at John's funeral, when we stayed at the house, Dave, John's
Right,
one
Dave
of
made
his,
it. Dave, the groundskeeper.
he made
Yeah,
it for
amazing.
me. Yeah.
now my sister lives in England, so I get to have some good British proper English breakfasts when I go.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Where? What part does she live in?
Yeah, where's
She
she?
lives in Teddington. She used to live in Richmond, but she's in Teddington now, which is, right outside of London.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Richmond. I think Pete used to live in Richmond.
Yeah,
Town.
I've seen Pete out on the street in Richmond, and their old Alan Rogan. Their old.
Oh, I love Alan.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
rest his soul. What a great oh, God.
Oh yeah.
Nice guy.
He used to come to John's, and he'd spend the week. John and I would be doing whatever we were doing, setting up for something, writing something, doing some kind of thing. And Alan would come over, and you'd see him at breakfast, and you'd see him at the next breakfast.
Right.
But you wouldn't see.
All day.
And he was on the third floor up in the guitar room, setting up every one of 300 plus guitars in John's collection, making sure, because John about this, I mean, talk about ridiculous. Like the slabs in the morgue that pull out of the wall. He had those, but there were guitars in them.
Yeah.
He had like one of every bass ever made, right, or something.
Oh, he had
but this is
insane
guitars,
shit.
not
Yeah,
basses,
guitars and
guitars.
basses. He had a 52 plank bass, which is like the Telecaster type of bass that Sting plays.
Right.
But,
But
he
it-
had guitars. When he
He
died.
had number 3 Flying V.
Yeah, when he died, Eddie Vedder bought one.
And Pagey bought the
Jimmy
number
Page
2.
bought one.
He had it was either the number 2 Explorer or the number 3 Flying V, or the other way around. And Eddie bought one, and Pagey bought the other. Yeah,
And they would just like sit in these
just sit there in the dark.
like how the
In the
dead
temperature
bodies-
controlled, beautiful smelling, frickin' dark.
Yeah.
So when we made the last record that we made, there were a lot of guitar solos in this one song. There was a lot of guitar solos that could go, and I made the guitar player use a different guitar and they would go back and forth between the speakers. It's like 8 of them. I got to hear everything I wanted to hear from that collection. It was just amazing.
He wanted one of my guitars, and I brought it down to a CSNY show back in 2006 or something, and I said, I'm not selling it. I just wanted you to see it. And he was like, oh, it's mine. It's mine. But an old National Duolian, an old resonator guitar that I have from the 30s.
Wow.
Started playing it. He's like, I love this thing, but I just hung on to it.
Well, there's the things you have to have. And the sad part of the whole thing was, you were talking about, you remember the Nationals that were like the plastic ones, the weird ones with all the tabs on them?
Yeah.
John had every one of those on a rack in his demo studio, and it was just amazing. But
it's like mother of pearl, right? Little mother.
It was. These were. I'll send you a picture of them. They were like colored plastic, like blue and red and white and.
Okay.
Very strange with the string, and he had like every one of that. Well, there were about 7 of them up there, and they were all different. They had like these.
He never got rid of anything.
Yeah, he never got rid of anything.
None of
he had a barn.
clothes.
He took me for a walk on the property one day, and we went up, and there's a barn. And I said, I've been coming here for 10 years. I've never seen this frickin' barn. Just wait till you see it inside. We go inside, and it looked like the warehouse of Sam Ash, 1970.
But everything in boxes.
Everything, boxes of OVXAs and frickin' Juno, just insanity.
Right.
And I said, what's in all those boxes? He said, read the outside. He'd play with something, a Prophet 5 or whatever it was, and he'd put it back in the box and tell somebody to take it up, put it in the barn.
Yep.
I did one Who show. It was the concert for New York City. And actually, Alan Rogan hired me to come in and do it. And I'll tell you, that when they hit the downbeat for that show, it was like I had never heard anything as glorious as that in my life. It was just so good.
Yeah, Steve was
Did you ever ask yourself why they went on so early?
They went on first because they knew they were going to blow everybody away.
Nope.
Was
that's
that?
not why.
Oh. What?
God, I can't wait to tell you the story.
First one on. They were the first one on.
We know, because
I can't
John
wait to tell you this story. I can't wait to tell you this story. Pete, through Bobby Pridnett, asked John and I to write some songs for a new Who album.
Okay.
I'm in England after 9/11, right? I flew over there because we, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And the phone rings, and he goes, yeah. No, can't. I'm sorry, we're playing. And he hangs up the phone. And I said, who's that? Who's that? Pete. Paul McCartney rang him up and he wants us to do a concert in New York City. And I said, and you said, no, I'm playing? Because the first thing that I did, we had a show at B.B. King's the night before, and B.B. King's gave us the second night everything free to raise money for, so I think we raised, for the 9/11 victims.
Right.
And John didn't want to cancel the show.
And Pete says, I'll
He
pay you.
So Pete says to him, I'll pay the band, I'll pay all your expenses. Don't you know what? He says, we don't need your charity. Just make sure I don't miss any of my shows. And
that's great. I didn't know he did a second show that night, huh?
He left right after they came off.
He made them jump through hoops. He said, Steve's got to be with me at every rehearsal.
Thank you, which made me extremely popular.
He's got to stay at the plaza.
Got to stay at the plaza. We need adjoining suites, and you need to get me to you need to get us to every gig on our schedule on time, whether we have to fly, take a train, limousine, whatever it was.
I'm not canceling my fundraiser.
I'm not canceling anything,
So
he said, and I am not canceling my fundraiser.
That's why. Yep.
So when they were done,
he didn't hang out and schmooze.
We got in the limo and went down the tube and up to B.B. King's.
And raised $10,000.
And raised $10,000 and gave it to the fire department.
Yep.
That's a great story.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and it speaks so loud to who he was.
Yeah.
On so many levels. But
Yeah.
it's that was a very weird day. That was
He was
a,
untouchable. I mean, his bass playing was, as far as rock and roll, I don't think anybody played in that caliber.
No.
well,
Even
you know,
Pete gives
the
it
thing
up for
about,
him.
I mean, we could go on for eons about it. I just signed a record deal to release 2 volumes of rarities, of ours from
And
over
Twistle
the
Band.
20 years. Well, me and John, some of the stuff that we were writing for Pete when John passed, and bass playing. Man, I must have 100 live shows. And I'm transferring them all to Pro Tools now because I'm trying to pick out and man, why do you play that way every night? I mean, I know why, because I do the same thing, but it's like, and risk, the amount of risk in his playing is what brought all the risk. We used to just go off like we were wrestling. It was a dog fight. It was.
Right.
They loved it. They had.
Oh yeah, I couldn't get enough of it,
Yeah.
man. It was like,
I think you guys were a good match, without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
yeah. And the thing, I'll tell you what, I think the thing, yeah, we absolutely were, because there was no class distinction, and
Even though there was,
I mean,
there wasn't.
there certainly was, but in our eyes, it was just, he lived in a bigger house than me, and his band had a few more fans.
Right.
But he was one of the guys when it came
Oh
down.
man! Well, for me,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, on this record, what I do is I just start the live show, bounce it down, and then I can skip through it later because it's all on DATs and it's all the masters are on DATs.
Right.
So I don't want to sit there and through DATs. So I record it all in the Pro Tools and then go back and listen to each song until I get to a clam, and then I realize, okay, can't use that one, and I move on. But I'm hearing stuff like just amazing, the stuff that he decides to play in different places. It's crazy, and it's different every night. I mean, it's just different every night. It's amazing. It's
But you got a gold mine there.
man, let me tell you what. And it took me a lot of years to get to the point where I thought that that we were ready to do this. Because there's songs that we recorded in the '90s that we never released. There's stuff that it's time now. It's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well, we have to take a commercial
I am going to
break.
take a commercial break. Did Angus send you the questions?
I got questions, yes.
Okay, cool.
Have answers.
Oh, I can't wait to hear. You're going to have good answers. I know it. And well, I'll see you back here in a minute. I'm just getting so into the.
It's crazy you guys have known each other for so long.
Yeah, we really have. It's been how many years? Well, at least 73, right?
I think the first rat race show I went to, we talked, so 73, and it's, I've probably seen you guys more than any other band in the world when I was, for my whole life.
Well,
have you
I
seen?
even went to the reunion in 2017.
Did
Oh,
you?
wow.
Oh boy,
Mulcahy's.
Well, you know what? You're from the day. I'll tell you. I get the call from Randy Jackson on May 1st. Do you want to do a reunion with Zebra? Absolutely. And I'm thinking in my mind, because I'm me and everything, gets bigger, and I want to own the universe, but I'll settle for the galaxy. You know what I mean? So
that's why he's in the spaceship.
yeah, that's why I'm out here. So I'm looking for real estate. So I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, we're celebrating Zebra's 40th year of playing in New York, right? Because they came 40 years, so I guess it was 77.
Yeah.
And we let them open for us on New Year's Eve, and that's how they kind of got
Their following, yeah.
Their following, and we, why not? That's what you do. So,
Well, it was a Kevin Brenner thing.
yeah, it was. Yeah. But they were great guys, and it was a good band, and there was no trouble, and no attitude. So we let it happen, and they got very popular, and rightly so. But So Randy calls me for the reunion. Now I'm thinking in my mind, okay, it's 40th anniversary. Let's not say anything because this is 2017. 2018 is the 50th anniversary of Rat Race Choir.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally I start, but it was not to be.
No.
It just,
Not everybody thinks.
everybody doesn't, I have a problem of thinking. I have the problem of thinking. Well, if I have a great idea, everybody's going to think it's a great idea, and it's for different reasons.
Everything for a reason.
But I'm thinking all the people I know. My God, think of everybody that I know. All the execs at NBC and ABC and all the different. This was my concept. The band. This is the undiscovered Led Zeppelin. The record that never came out. Led Zeppelin 1 never came out. Now all of a sudden, here these guys are, 50 years later. They finished the first record, and somebody writes a book, somebody does a movie, somebody does this because Kimmel easy. With Fallon, easy. So I'm thinking to myself, my God, how about the best new artist at 70 years old? Come on, man, MTV, and I'm just going off the rails with what a bonanza of publicity and opportunity it would have been, but it's just not to be.
Yeah, but since we've been doing this show, most of the people that come on say the same thing, that Rat Race played people's songs better than the original. And I think that that's where their power and population lied.
What?
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, because I never really, when at least for me.
So maybe if you did an album of covers,
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean,
I was disappointed when I saw Led Zeppelin in '75.
Oh, me too.
That was right. But Plant had the flu. Page broke a finger or something. So it was, I love Bonham and John Paul Jones, but the other two just weren't cutting it that week.
I've seen some bad Led Zeppelin. Well,
Yes.
band. Let me take that as very high praise. Look, Mark. I never looked at any of that stuff like I was trying to reproduce something. If it was something that I could do, that I enjoyed doing, I was going to do it. And if I was the drummer in whatever band, or I was in Jethro Tull, this is the way I would play it, unless somebody said, don't play it that way, Yeah. And I think, in my mind, I think I remember everybody approaching it that way. Larry was Larry, and Dave was Dave. It was just, I just would have liked to have, kept that momentum going with. We did actually record a cover of "Any Way That You Want Me" by Chip Taylor, who wrote "Wild Thing," John Voight's brother.
Of course.
And
When we come back, I want to find out who would be the keyboard player for the 55th anniversary tour.
Well, I could tell you in a heartbeat, but I'll tell you when we come back. Here it comes. I'll meet you back here.
All right, see you in a second.
I live in Southwest Florida now, and one of my favorite places to grab a bite to eat is Jason's Deli. Scott and Diana Willis have been in business here for over 20 years. The truth is, Jason's Deli has bigger choices of better food. You can eat healthy and enjoy the taste of quality ingredients. They're open 7 days a week for dine-in, pick-up, or deli delivery. With 4 convenient locations from Naples to Cape Coral, Florida, they are a must-try. Jason's Deli, where all good things come from wholesome ingredients. And Bradley's Jewelers in South Fort Myers. Diamonds, bridal, you name it, estate, custom design, and expert repair. Bradley's Jewelers, South Fort Myers. They specialize in amazing moments.
They specialize in amazing moments. Amazing moments. Who would be the keyboard player? I have an answer for that. It wouldn't be anybody that we have already had, because if I was, especially after the past couple of years of having people tell me what they because I was just in it. I wasn't floating around on a cloud thinking, oh wow, I was just doing, it was just my day.
Right.
So now with perspective, I would play with Rat Race Choir in a heartbeat. I wouldn't do it with any of the old keyboard players. I would want to do it with I would use Chris Clark. Chris Clark was the last keyboard player in the John Entwistle band. And I'm using him in a project that I'm producing for a documentary thing. I mean, that's where I would go. That's where I would go. But and I would certainly. I mean, look, I'm a soldier. I have a gun. I have some, medals. And if it's time to go to war, tell me what gauge ammunition I need to bring. I don't know if that. But if that were to happen, it would only happen unless you want to play.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if I'm up for that, for the simple reason I'm not a technical player. I'm sort of a groove meister,
Right.
And there's much better keyboard players out there to do that type of thing. But I'll tell you, Chris Clark, did he play with Brand X recently?
Yes.
Yes. I saw him at Daryl's house over in Pauling. He was spectacular.
Monster.
Yeah.
Absolute monster.
Yeah. He's the closest thing to Larry McGowan.
Yeah, he's the closest thing to Larry and the thing that I realized with all the there was Pepe, Larry, Gordon, and Jack. And out of the to me the classic lineup was 74 to 84, which was 74 to 89, 79 rather, with Larry. The years he actually 69 to 79, but Mark didn't join until 74. But that was the band that had the chemistry and had the spark and had that thing that you either just and so I don't think, especially now that Larry's passed, I don't think that we could ever recapture that. I mean, I'm not 25. I could still play, as much as I need to play, but I would like to see, if we did anything, I'd like to see it be something new and or something of a legacy, like I said, finishing what we started all those years ago.
Yeah, but like I said, I think what the people really like is how they think you do the covers better than the
I
original.
I get that.
Okay, so Laurie Allred says, Steve, did you know that Mike is responsible for introducing Mike Oldfield's Family Man to Daryl Hall? The Hall & Oates cover was a huge hit. Wow.
No, I had no idea.
That's an interesting story. I used to live at Daryl's house in West Reading, Connecticut. And I lived in the little guest cottage, and I had a large, loud stereo. And one day, it was Sunday, he's having coffee in his place, and I'm blasting Family Man from my stereo. And he's like, "What is that?" I said, "It's the new Mike Oldfield record." He says, "Bring it to the studio." We're at Electric Lady doing Private Eyes, I think.
Oh.
And he said, "Bring it with us to the studio tomorrow. We're going to listen to that." And I bought it, they put it on the turntable, and the band started playing it. As simple as that.
Wow.
And they had a hit with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man, Electric Lady. Wow.
I did all their, the Voices, Private Eyes, H2O, Big Bam Boom. I did all those records with them there.
So was Alan Selby? Was he the owner back?
He was the owner, yeah.
Yeah, because we recorded the unreleased album
Right.
there, and at Minot, and at do you remember? Oh God, what La Barbat used to be?
Well, Media.
Media.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Blast from the past. How about that?
Yeah. So and of course Warner Brothers and CBS and done, but Electric Lady, because I'm such a Hendrix guy. I love Hendrix, and that would have been that would have been probably the dream band for me. Hendrix and John and me, just that would have been pretty serious. But
Nice trio.
Yeah, right. He lead. Yeah, everybody plays lead drums, lead bass, and yeah,
Everybody plays lead.
yeah. It's like Joe Walsh.
Time for the questions.
Okay, time for the
Okay.
questions.
All
Time
right.
for the questions, and okay. All right, I'm just going to jump right into the questions.
Yeah.
And I should tell you, Free for All Fridays. You have to come on Free for All Friday. Did he
Okay.
tell you about that, Angus? Tell you about that?
I heard about it, and I've heard it. Yeah, you pop in on Friday.
Oh
That's
man!
right.
And from anywhere, anytime, driving on the phone. I mean, I don't encourage driving on the phone, but whatever. We have such a good time, and man, it would be great to see you. And you look amazing, by the way.
That's right.
Well,
What?
so do you. I don't know how Lori. I probably know Lori, but I don't see her. So
Well, and,
I know she doesn't come on camera. So that's
No, she doesn't come on camera,
Oh, yeah.
and but
I'm sure I
I
remember
do
her
have-
from the old rat race days.
yeah, I do have her in
We
the
got
ship.
together at the
There
end
she
of
is.
81.
There she is over in this. She keeps that thing over her head so no one can see her.
Oh, ha ha.
Wait, I think I have a nice picture of you actually in here. Wait a minute. Let me be kind.
Actually,
Maybe
I
I
met
don't.
Steve in 1977.
We met
I'm
at
from New Orleans, and I was going out with the bass player in Zebra, and they decided to move to New York.
Talk your way out of this one.
So we all moved to New York and got a band house in Smithtown. And Zebra used to open for Rat Race, like at Speaks every whatever
Well, yeah,
it was,
back in that day.
Tuesdays,
So
Glen Allen
I would
Casino.
just talk to her on the breaks.
Yeah,
and
we
were
because I
just
didn't
friends.
know anybody in New York, and I liked to smoke pot, and
Yeah.
Steve I would see smoking a joint outside. So we were just talking. We were
So she
friends.
was working me for my
I was
my weed.
not. But then Felix and I broke up, and I went back down to New Orleans. But I was working at a private airport, and this jet company said, "Do you want to fly up to New York to see the lighting of the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center?"
1981,
Yeah,
Christmas
and I had
81.
made a
Right.
friend with a girl up there that used to go out with Dave Camilla, Karen Caruso, who you
Do you remember
probably-
Karen Caruso?
I don't know if I remember Karen.
Yeah.
If I
So-
saw her, I would.
Yeah, she was friends with Steve. So
The long story short, she came to my house and never left.
yeah, and
That was
that's
40 years
40
ago.
years ago.
Hey, talk about band houses. I used to sit outside the Mayapack house on Baldwin Place Road and listen to you guys rehearse outside. I would like sit in my car by the barn and just listen to you guys rehearse. Like
Other people
Everybody.
did that on the golf
The
cart.
guys, do you know the guys with the golf cart and the bullhorns?
I don't know them.
I
was in regular
They stole a golf cart because that horse farm was 77 acres. So
That
they
was
stole a
Winston's
golf
land.
cart and they used to drive on our property and like hide in the woods when we would
Listen
rehearse,
to 'em.
smoking pot, sitting in the golf cart.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and, well, it's cool to know you were sitting out in your car.
Yeah, that's
listening.
very cool. And we wrote "Dancing Flame" in that shack, in that cabin.
That shack.
In that cabin, yeah.
The cabin.
That was great. Man, I tell you,
Good stories.
wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we have such a rich history, man. We
Now,
should
you see,
probably
if
do part
Steve
two.
would have seen you, he's the kind of guy that would have said, "Come on in."
Yeah, I would have said, yeah, that's, are you kidding me? I would have
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
How old were you back then?
Probably like 18. What
Wow.
what year was the Mayapack house? Like
Well, it would have been,
76?
Larry was there. It would have been
no.
later, 78.
They had
Okay.
the Hamptons
78,
house.
79. We had the Hamptons house, and then we had the horse farm, and then Larry left, so he was still. That was either late. We had both. We had the Hamptons house and the horse farm, but then we got rid of the house of the Hamptons, and so I would say 79, 80.
Okay.
Maybe 81. No, I don't think so. 81. Yeah, maybe
No.
81. And that was
81
the
they
horse
probably
farm.
had
So
the-
yes, so 18. So I would have definitely dragged your ass inside.
That's right.
That was one of my favorite things to do. That's why I do this show, because it's like a peek behind into our world. I think our world is precious and very special, and I've done it. I don't ever remember not being this, and I love the work that we do. So I don't really think about it as work. It's like
And the things we talk about, we may not have mentioned to people in years, or maybe never. Things just pop into your head and they just come out.
So, man, that's Baldwin Place Road.
Yeah.
You didn't even pull in the driveway?
You know what? One night I went back there with Mark after a show,
Oh,
and I think he was hitting on my sister. I dragged my sister home.
that would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great place, man. I mean, we got a lot of work done there, and it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of turmoil there as well, and it was a weird, the 80s were 70s, late 70s, 80s were, they were the bad old days.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, it's getting dinner
okay,
time.
all right. So yeah, I'm getting the here's your hat, what's your hurry? You've been on the road a lifetime. Favorite restaurant on the road? We're going to Switzerland. I can't wait to eat at Mama's Swiss meatballs. Favorite restaurant?
You know what? I had trouble with this one because I don't know what type of food it but I'm gonna go with Sabatini's in Rome.
Ooh.
Oh.
With Billy Joel, huh?
What kind of food it is?
It's definitely old school Italian.
Sabatini's in Rome. I would think that's probably Italian food.
Yeah. It's in Travis area, and the building's like 300-400 years old, and just, the traditional recipes, and it was just, it was a vibe too. I think good food is also when you're with the right people. I was with T-Bone Walk. I was with GE.
Oh, man.
Yes, it was just that perfect moment that, the conversation, the wine, the food, everything was just beautiful.
T-Bone, man. That's, wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, we look at our
Sabatini's.
family and it's just like a regular family, and it's wow. He was always great. I love Tommy. He was just,
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, all right. Okay. So Sabatini's, that's okay. We're good with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll take the veal. No, not the veal. The chicken parmesan, with the linguine on the side.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next question.
So next question is, and it doesn't matter what band, it doesn't matter what year, it doesn't matter anything. The set list comes out. There it is. My favorite song to play live. Got to play this one. So got to play this one.
Stratus.
Favorite song to play live.
Stratus off the Spectrum record.
Oh.
Come on. You know what? Because everybody gets to speak. The keyboard speaks, the drums speak, the guitar. Everybody lets to let go and have a blast.
Man, I want to go running. I want to go run into my control room because I just took my Moog drum and put it in the live room. Billy and I think we're the only two guys that had that thing.
Right.
Remember at the beginning of
Part one. Stratus Part 1. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I got that thing, man. Sammy asked, said, I just got this thing, and you guys have a mini Moog, don't you? Yes, we do.
Well,
What does it do?
It to you.
No, he didn't give it to me, but I still have it, and it still works. And
That's right.
I used to use that in my solo, man. I love that thing. Anyway. Okay. So now the set list comes out now, and you don't necessarily have to be playing on this one. Mm-hmm. You could be teching, you could be doing, but I have heard this song too many times. What's that song?
Well, I shouldn't say this, but probably because he was a really good boss, but I don't know if I want to do Margaritaville anymore. Every time I sit in with a band, they say, "You with Buffett, let's do Margaritaville." I didn't play with Buffett, I tech for him, but I heard that song enough, and that's that.
I mean, that's
Nothing
like
is new, but
It's
this
sort of like your
great
brown-eyed girl.
yes,
Brown-eyed girl.
yes,
No?
yes.
Brown-eyed girl. We've had 22 people
22
say.
brown-eyed girls.
That's my brown-eyed girl.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, listen, I get that, and I tell you what, it's probably his brown-eyed girl too. I mean,
Right to the bank.
yeah,
Yeah.
but still, no matter what, man. I mean, I was in a band with Robin Zander for a few years, and we used to do the Cheap Trick hits. But he had the most fun doing Led Zeppelin or doing some originals or doing some just Badfinger, anything. And yeah, he liked singing that. How many times can you how many times is "Want You to Want Me" going to be fresh?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So but hey, listen.
So they did Baby Blue before it even came out.
Yeah,
on
we did.
Breaking
We were doing
Bad.
Baby Blue before Breaking Bad ended with it. So
Yeah.
Wow.
it was great.
Daryl Hall stopped playing Private Eyes for a couple years because he didn't want to play it anymore. He was sick and tired of his own song, and that was their big moneymaker.
Yeah.
And we got to Japan, and Udo said, "You must play Private Eyes," and you don't say no in Japan.
No.
He said, "Your biggest hit, Private Eyes."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I can see GE in that video. It's wow. Well, okay, but I get that. I totally get that. So okay, bingo.
Okay, well, one of our children of the lawn just went to see Vanilla Fudge, and she said they played "I Got You, Babe"
I Got You, Babe.
by Sonny and Cher.
Did they?
Why not?
Yeah, but did
I
they?
know,
but
I guess they wanted to play something different.
Who sang
yeah,
the girls' part though?
I don't know.
I don't know.
And I have an answer
Good
for that,
question.
but I still see these people on a regular level, and I'm just going to let that go right by.
Yeah, we've had Mark Stein on the show
Yeah, I've had
twice.
Mark on, and Carmine and I endorse the same drum company, although he has no idea who I am. And
What are you playing these days?
D drum, believe it or not, the first I still have all the stuff. I have still got the Fibes kit that you remember.
Right, and the North drums, right? Did you have Norths?
Yep. No, I don't. I got rid of the North drums. I had them, and the Vista lights are up in Long Island. All the Five stuff is here. All the graphite Grover stuff from the Entwistle tours is here. I have a Remo set, but now everything that I played from '70 until whenever we released the Entwistle bass. I don't remember what year it was, but I played these. I played D drums because it was actually Dean that did the bass, and they were Elliot who was the. Do you remember Elliot Rubinson from what was it?
He played in Cactus.
He played but he Thoroughbred Music. Do you remember Thoroughbred Music?
I do, but I don't know him personally.
Well, he was a real player, and he played bass with Cactus, and he owned the company, and he made this. We did this commemorative Entwistle bass together, and they did a beautiful job on it. John would have loved it and been very proud. And so I went out to NAMM to play wherever the Angels play baseball. They were having the jam there, and we opened for Megadeth. Mark and Elliot and I was playing their drums, D drums, right? And I had never played them before, and it was like, wow. All my shells are either phenolic or graphite or fiberglass, or they're all synthetics. I haven't played wooden drums since the '60s, and
Wow. Okay.
yeah, but these Alder, they built me an Alder kit. It's gorgeous, and I love it, and it's perfect for me now because of how my playing has changed over the years, and I love them. They have beautiful tone, and
Cool.
so yeah, so that's
Okay. So next
yeah.
question.
So no, next question. Sorry, it's my producer keeping me right on track. We're only
Yes,
20
right on
minutes
track.
over. It's no problem. Okay. Well, you're a keyboard player by that would be your thing. But if you could shred at absolutely any other instrument on the planet, anything, ice bells, violin, gong, what would it be?
I have to say hammer dulcimer.
What is that?
Really?
What is
Yeah.
that?
Hammer dulcimer, you play with sticks, and you can get you can do rolls on notes, and you can
Yeah.
do some pretty heavy stuff with it. And I've always thought I would love to get one of those.
Wow,
I've
man.
heard them, I played them a little bit. My friend had one, and I just think it would be a wonderful instrument to play.
Wow, yeah, to be killer at. I mean, can you imagine putting a pickup on it and putting it through like a wah-wah and a fuzz? I mean,
Oh yeah,
It was, I mean, that's
Now he's making you think about it.
right. See, I mean, see, that's just we played. We had the night off in Nashville one night, and we went down. What is it? Printers Alley, where all the clubs are, or am I getting Memphis? It's either Printers Alley or
Beale Street is
Beale
Memphis.
Street.
That's Memphis.
Okay, yeah. So Printers Alley.
Okay, yep.
It doesn't matter, and we're down in this like dive bar, country bar. The stage is like a foot off the ground, and this band comes out, and they have a guy that's playing pedal steel. He's got the most broken in cowboy hat I've ever seen in my life, wearing jeans and a t-shirt. He's got a pedal steel with a wah-wah pedal, and this guy was like, it was the most insane thing. He was playing through a distortion. It just sounded like imagine like octave smears and just unbelievable. And we jammed with him. It was really freaking cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hammer dulcimer, that would be an interesting, and that's a nice sound too. It's like got that almost harpsichord-y kind of
shiny and yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's okay. Good choice. First time we've gotten that.
Yeah.
And the last question before I let you go eat your cold dinner. If you could play one show or do one show with anybody or any combination of guys, live or dead, who would it be?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It's Hendrix.
Oh.
You know why? Because I think his music. I mean, there's so many great players, and of course Hendrix is right up there at the top of my list. But I think I could hang with him as far as the music. You don't have to think too much about. You can just let it go, and that's the kind of player I am. That I just like to not really think about much and just let things go. And I think his music affords itself to that.
Hendrix, there is no. I mean, I've been influenced by a lot of things, but Hendrix, I still find myself whenever I'm mixing something or making a record or doing anything, using those old Eddie Kramer techniques, and I think Hendrix was so, to hear that back then in that time. The Beatles they brought it color TV. I mean, that was it. All of a sudden, music went from black and white to color. But Hendrix, man, that was high def. And I loved him, and
he did colors we don't even know about anymore.
Yeah, colors you can't see. Believe me, yeah, it was wild. And I have a picture, I'm sure it's a famous picture, but there's a picture of him and some girl at a club in England, and Entwistle and the rest of the band are standing behind him, like looking at him, like that's him.
Right.
Cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, man, this has been a blast. Mike, we got to do part 2 because we have so much history. I mean, we've hardly talked about old Bobby. I mean, just there's so much going on. We should do this again. You absolutely have to come on a Friday night.
I'm going to drop in on a Friday. And yeah, Bobby was my mentor. When he joined up with Hall & Oates, he just taught me so much, about music was, just a great show.
Well, Stephen Bobby.
Let's put it that way.
You guys did gigs together after.
Yeah, we played together for years after. I mean, we played. I won't tell you the whole story, but we played a gig down in the Jersey Shore, and Bobby got so drunk, I was like scared to ride in the car with him, and I said, do you want me to drive? And he was like, no, I'm fine. And we were like, we're in South Jersey. This is not going to turn out
Wildwood,
good. And I convinced him to go to Atlantic City so I could, because I had never been to Atlantic City, and we got off the road, and it's a long story, but man, I was freaked, and so we got a room comped, and they thought we were with Kool and the Gang. They thought we were roadies for Kool and the Gang, and they let us. I said, look, my friends, it's been a long ride. We're both kind of beat. And they gave us this executive suite, but we had to be out by 10 o'clock in the morning. And Bob, I mean, it's like 3 bedrooms or something, just in like the stupid high roller.
Ocean view.
And there's nobody to tell. Bob, I have to help him. He's on the couch. We're still wearing his jacket in the morning,
He
right?
couldn't take pictures with a cell phone.
I had no
There's
cell phone.
camera.
There's no camera, no nothing. I mean, I called my father in California and said, hey. Well. But in the morning, I woke Bob up. I said, man, listen, we got to get out of here. And he wakes up and he looks around and he looks out at the ocean view out of the panoramic window. And the first thing he does is start looking for his wallet. It was great.
A hangover, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was great. He was great.
That's
and
like the time when he was playing with burgers and mayo around that time.
Yeah.
I did shows with burgers and mayo. When
great.
Mark Rivera and I would do some burgers and mayo show. It was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun. He was a great guy and a fantastic musician. And now that we've covered all the hard stuff, I'm gonna go eat my cold dinner. And Mike, this was it was a lot of fun, man. Like I said, it's good to see you. You look great.
And you'll have to come back on for part 2.
Yeah,
we'll definitely get together and we'll have some fun.
Yeah, we should have some fun. Yes, we do. Yes, I mean, believe me, we have stuff to talk about. But there we go. For now, I'm gonna, I'm the guy. Just 5 more minutes. That's just me. You know what I mean? And the bus is a half hour late, and they. But anyway, brother, I will talk to you and thank you. This was really fun. Great catching up with you, and I'll look for you on a Friday, and I'll have Angus set another one up, and we'll do it again.
All right, Steve. Love to you and Laurie. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye,
Lots of love, man. See you soon.
Right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was cool.
Great.
He was, man. I say it all the time, but that's the beauty of this show. If I do this show for any reason besides obviously to entertain you, which is my mission, that's why I'm in the capsule. It's just to reconnect with guys like that. I mean, can I say?
He's
a lot of history.
Great guy.
Okay,
I've got all your requests.
Okay, we have requests.
Requests are now closed.
Well, requests are closed. I don't even know
because
what
we
they
have
are.
so many of them, we won't be able to do any more. So thank you guys, and it's great to be back with you again.
Yes, and we apologize to my last night.
Well, it wasn't our fault.
We think it was Lenny's fault, actually. We think he was, so I had asked him if he would log on to the show, and but we'll straighten that out before Friday. And if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.
Take care.